Good evening. Welcome to this episode of Elite School with Austin Adetunji. All right, we're going to be considering a a very interesting subject, and yeah, and I would like you to please share this link, share it with your friends and families. Let them be a part of tonight's conversation. It's going to be an amazing time. Yeah, an amazing time. All right. Yeah, sorry, the first link was hijacked. It was hijacked by some terrorists. All right, so this is a new link. If you're on our community group, kindly send this link so that they can join with this link. So the powers that be hijacked the first link. All right, yeah. So let's dive right into it tonight. So we are considering leadership series. Leadership series is going to be a lengthy ride, um, and I trust that we'll be able to um, carry on. We'll be carryable. Let me put it that way. Even as we converse around this subject matter. So, but today I'm going to pin it down or narrow it down to personal leadership. Personal leadership. Um, so I'm sure leadership is not a word that is uncommon, that we are not familiar with. It's something we must have heard, and there are many people who are leaders themselves who are watching currently, or probably you're in the community, right? So um, it's not what you're not familiar with. All right. Uh, but there is a saying, and I would like to start with that saying. Try to remember who said it now. Yes, I think John C. Maxwell said, everything rises and falls on leadership. Everything rises and falls on leadership, right? Um, think about it. Any system, any institution, any nation, any state, anywhere, right? Any home, whatever it is that you are building, it rises. Hi to you, Timothy. You're welcome on this episode of Elite School with Austin Adetunji. Why did you retract your message? All right. So everything rises and falls on leadership. Of course, look at our country, our dear country, our awesome country, where we are, where we are in currently, where I'm speaking from. Of course, you agree with me that everything rises and falls on leadership. So there are several problems in the society today, in the nation at large, that can be traced to bad leadership, poor leadership, and all. So that means that statement is true, that all things, everything rises and falls on leadership. Um, but I make bold to tell you that leadership is not when, or leadership does not start when you hold a position, or you have a title, or you probably pioneer an organization, or you have people you have gathered together, right? I feel the first beneficiary of your leadership are the members of yourself, of your body. Do you understand what I'm saying? The members of your body, they are the first beneficiary of your leadership. Um, let's start with how your wake up time, the time you sleep, the kind of things you eat, how you prioritize your health, um, the things you watch, those you listen to. You understand what I'm saying? The ability to be able to lead oneself first. And that's where we are going today, because I believe that it is the foundational issue of every problem or every success in the society today: personal leadership. So if everything falls on leadership, you must agree also that there is such a thing called personal leadership. All right. And if you can get this right, you can get nation building right. If you can get this right, we can get people building right. All right. Yeah. We can get people building right. We can get nation building right. We can get many things right if we're able to get personal leadership right. And it's just um it's something really interesting, something serious. And I've given a good example of personal leadership here, right? Being able to say that this I have 24 hours, and this is how I want to use it, and being in charge of that time, being able to adequately spend the time on things that matters to you or to your well-being, right? So, but before that's just a brief scenario or case study of how what personal leadership means, right? But before I go, because I want to discuss with you some problems that exist today in our society, and why I feel it has a lot to do with how we lead ourselves, right? But I remember I was just making research on businesses that with one can do currently in Nigeria, and I will be bringing daily income. I was just making my research, and also that you can start with certain amount of money. So I stumbled on a video that said that the person said that you can do machines. You can start vending machines business or something. So vending machine is, I don't know if you have seen movies where certain people will go to a particular stand, put coin, and the coin will go there and drink will come out from it from the machine, and you take it and you leave, right? So someone commented and said, this one no go work for this place. So because if you put that kind of thing somewhere, the next day, by the time you come back, you will not meet it there again, right? Because people have not learned to be responsible themselves. So, and it was just funny. I remember that, of course, I've read that there was a time when you just go to the market, you might not meet anybody there. Of course, I met a few of those times. I remember that there was one house we lived one time like that. There was that woman that we put our goods, pepper, all of those things, put outside. I will not not pack them in, leave them there. I think she had the belief that anybody that comes here and steal, we something will happen to her or something. And people don't used to come there. They just, if you buy something and you didn't meet her there, you will get your stuff, then you drop the money. Do you understand? But the moment we have lost it in that area where people do not understand what it is to be personally responsible for their lives, responsible for their actions, responsible for building the society, we have missed it a lot. All right. So there's no point even starting with um, leadership on a global scale if we have not first mastered leadership on a personal level. Do you get what I'm saying? You need to first master leadership on a personal level. right? And I will start with sharing with us few habitual problems that I believe has become the wiring of our society. There are few habitual problems that have become the wiring of our society, and these problems, I don't know who invented it, but I know it was handed down to every generation, and we ate it like noodles, like fast food. And unfortunately, we started delivering it to generations to come, all right? Because we were raised with that mentality. We lived our life, we built our lives with that mentality, and we also raised other people with that mentality. Only few, maybe 1%, who have been able to reparent themselves, bring themselves out of that web, have been able to do something well for themselves and probably raise another generation in that way. You see, there are a lot of lessons or trainings, relearning, unlearning, relearning, reparenting you have to do. Right? First for yourself, then secondly for those who will come through you, whether your sons, I mean your biological sons and daughters, or people God has given you the leverage over to probably to lead. Right? Because one thing is you learn so much by observation. People learn how to live by looking at your life. People learn how to live by staying around you. So and you see, so what are those habitual problems that I've observed that we have? Um, I want to say in Africa, particularly in Nigeria. Though this is a problem that is common to human beings, right? But of course, it's like this is where they manufacture it. Africa precisely, we manufacture it and export it to other nations. And what is the first problem? The first problem is that we we know how to blame or shift our responsibilities to God. That's simple, right? But it's deep. So there is this attitude we have learned and we have mastered. Apologies for the light issue. So there is this attitude we have we have mastered how to, yes, how to push all our responsibilities to God. There is a saying that nobody is coming for you. Let me know if you have heard that statement before. Nobody is coming for you. You need to take your life serious. So I want to bring a balance to that statement, right? The statement is true. I will explain why it is true. And I also explain to what extent or degree it is not true. You understand? So the statement is true because it is to help you to shift your focus from irresponsibility, hoping and wishing that a day will come that a savior will just come look for you and bring you out of the mess that you may find yourself or the society has put you in, or the nature or the situation of your country is. So it is true because nobody is actually coming to save you. You have to save yourself. You have to learn to take responsibility. I think the only person who is um, coming to save you is your parents, maybe your guardians. They are the ones that have the responsibility of saving you. But in fact, unfortunately, many people don't have the privilege of um, such kind of people, because most times, most people live, they grew from childhood to adulthood and they saw their parents still fighting or struggling to save themselves. Do you understand? So while you saw that you were raised and brought up through all of that struggle, so you also inherited struggle. I'm sorry. See, this is my observation, and it's true with majority, right? So if they are the only ones that can save you, and at this stage of your life, age of your life, this phase you are in currently, you have not been able to save yourself, it means that there's no salvation with them. Do you understand? And you see, the issue is that we don't used to like the truth. We don't tell ourselves the truth. We don't. And I believe that's the first step you need to take before you even think about taking responsibilities. You need to be able to tell yourself the truth. If the only person, because they are the ones who gave birth to you, all right, you came to them, the only people who should be able to maybe send you, when I say nobody send you, these people should send you. They're responsible for how you live, what you eat, what you drink to a certain, maybe till you get to a certain age. If while they were doing that, they were also trying to find themselves to escape the struggle of whatever is happening, then it means that their salvation is not in your hand. I get what I'm saying. So they are the only ones that's that maybe you are entitled to their salvation or to their help. Now that being said, we have learned to, so the reason why that statement is valid is because we have learned to depend on a system outside of us, a system without um that is aside, apart from us. We have learned to wait, hope, wish that there will be a better tomorrow. And we have learned it in several ways. Even the media has taught us how to just sit down in idleness, wait for one moment that God will show up miraculously. You watch movies, if you, so I don't know, I can't remember which, there was a movie we saw in our house, and the guy left the village, went to the city, went to Lagos, and we're not told how many years after, but he came back to pick his girlfriend and he was already doing fine. This is a facade. It's not always the case. Do you understand what I'm saying? It is not always true. It is not always true. Even people travel out of this country to go to another country and they are there struggling. Somehow we feel people who are outside of Nigeria are actually doing better. And it will amaze you that most of them are really crying. They want to come back here. In fact, I met someone who said, and I reasoned with it. Okay, it's true, right? Except there are things you have an upper hand. He said that he prefers to stay in Nigeria and make money from another country, let's say UK and all. Say why? Because if he makes, let's say, £5,000 per month, and he's making it while in Nigeria, is a big guy. But if he makes the same amount while in UK, United Kingdom, his expenses will take most of the things away. To some degree, it is true. Do you understand? I have a couple of friends, people who come back to lament and complain and say, you don't know what you're enjoying there. They can't stay here. They know that this place, the system, the terrain itself does not really support or encourage wellness, productivity. Do you understand? But they still feel, that place is choking and all of that, right? Because the truth is, it's not always true. The way we think that, oh yes, when I leave the village to go to the city, I'll come back 3 months. Oh really? Let's tell ourselves the truth. It's a lie that has been told to you so that you think that, so that you will keep wishing and hoping and you will not take responsibility and sit down and think, how do I think out of the box? What do I do exactly? And that's the same reason why you are also thinking of leaving your current job to go to another job, and in 5 years you have changed 5 jobs. Nothing has changed because they have taught you that it is about changing jobs, about changing location, about changing I get what I'm saying, changing where you stay. So when you look at such movies, you just feel like or probably you, oh, let me tell you the funny one. A girl is selling orange. A girl is selling orange by the roadside. One rich man just drove past and saw, wow, this girl is fine. Oh, wow, wow. And said, don't worry, I help her carry the orange and put her inside the car and drove off and said, I'm going to marry you like this. Achalugo. You're my Achalugo, I go marry you. It's not always true. It is not always true. Usually, people marry people at their level. It is maybe those who are not educated that will go to the village and go and bring one girl because they want to intimidate. They want to put the girl somewhere so that you cannot question what I'm saying. They want partners with good IQ. Those things are not always true. It's just media. It's just to keep you in your smallness, enjoy it, love it. They want you to settle in the ruins of the society and think and just keep hoping that one day a savior is coming. I'm trying to help you buttress that point that it is true to some degree that nobody is coming to help you. Do you get? Nobody is coming. Nobody is coming. No savior. You have watched, in fact, all movies, Hollywood, Nollywood, Bollywood. You watch Indian movies, they will arrest someone, one boy will just come with big muzzle and saying that he's coming to say it's not always true. Hello, maybe you would think it's just about entertainment. It's an ideology that you will think that one day someone is coming. Someone is coming. You think that I don't know what will happen tomorrow. You see, there was this program they used to do. There was a program like that, like a foundation, all these NGOs, people. In fact, they added me to many of the platform on Telegram. People keep submitting names and account number every year. I get what I'm saying. They submit account number every year. They said, yes, there's one money they are releasing. Federal government is releasing it. There's one money. For 5 years, for 7 years. Who has bewitched you? Why you not wise? Know that this thing, they come. But people hope. They believe that something will show. And see, you have spent your life believing that something will show. It looks like God is not faithful. But God is faithful. Only that you don't understand that. I mean, you don't know how to really balance reality with, believing in God. You don't know it. So there are many lies in the society today. And that's because of that, I believe that statement is true. Nobody is coming to save you. If anybody comes to save you, and look at it, these are many times we have spoiled it, that when we, in fact, eventually find people who show us some love, just show interest in you, you now begin to feel entitled to their help, to their assistance. No. If they did, maybe not because they have so much or have in excess, it's because they just feel something must have drawn them to you, right? The first might be God factor, right? But it's not because they don't know what to do with what they have, their resources, their time, their endorsement. Do you get what I'm saying? So we must tell ourselves the truth. No one is coming. Are you learning? No one is coming. So this is really serious and has eaten our society deep. That people are so relaxed when they are supposed to take actions, and they put so much energy in praying and hoping and wishing. I don't know. Yes. In fact, people can dream big, and all of the dream is only anchored on, I don't know whether anything can happen tomorrow. God can just. How many of you have wished that you just met 1 million or 5 million on the road, or you just woke up and see some amount in your account? You were taught. It was handed down to us. We thought that something will just happen miraculously. I will still get it. I wanted to talk to you about miracle, actually. So that statement is true to some extent. Now, I also believe that the statement is not true to another extent, because it does not include everybody. Nobody is coming for you does not include God. I'm going to balance it. Nobody is coming for you. You are on your own. You are allowed. It does not include God. Because if you read scriptures, very well, and study patterns in scriptures, you will see that God has always shown up for people. God has always come to rescue people. So that statement only includes people like you, humans like you, people who are incapacitated like you. In fact, it might even include your parents who gave it to you genuinely. Don't you know that there are people, they just don't feel like they gave it to you. They just feel like, I don't have time, and they spent their fortune on themselves, or I did. Some people, so after they died, they now found out this Baba has something somewhere. All right. So it might include every other person, but it does not include God. And it's not to steer that religious part of you. And I'm going to balance it. It does not include God, because at some point in your life, at least once in your lifetime, God must have come for you. God must have shown up for you. At least once in your lifetime. If you are within the age of, let's say, 18 to 25 to 30, at least once, God must have shown up for you. So when you say nobody is coming for you, it does not include him. Why? Because naturally, you don't need to be a Christian or a believer for you to enjoy the mercies of God. there is a mercy that brought redemption. There is a mercy that every creature enjoys because God is the Father of all flesh. I get what I'm saying. So you don't even need to say, Lord Jesus, forgive my sin. If God will not bring rain and say, okay, this rain should only fall on the roof of the righteous, and let's separate the guys who are not doing well, it caters for everyone. So it means that God comes for people, right? And it is possible that God has come for you one time or the other in your life. However, the problem is this: people usually have a manner in which they want God to come. We usually have a manner in which we expect God to show up. And most of the times we miss God because we have created a method in our minds that God must come this way. Look at it, the story of the Israelites, when the Messiah came. The Messiah was they expected the Messiah to come like a king, right? But this king, although being a king, was born in a manger, you know, rode with the common guys, did not appear with so much sophistication, and they were disappointed. And they could not really accept what he was bringing because this Messiah was supposed to come in a way we will be able to reckon with. So that makes me to say that sometimes God has come for you, but he did not come in the way you were expecting him to come. And this is it. Most of the times we expected God to come in a way that he takes the responsibility for our lives. We did not know that God can also demand responsibility from our hands. What we expected God to do was to give us ideas and also carry out the ideas. We're expecting God to give us strategies and still be the one to pioneer, carry out, enforce the strategy. So when God came, he came in a way that he required of you your partnership, your responsibility, right? He demanded from you work. But you didn't know that that was God's way of showing up. You expected him to just show up and take everything while you are sitting somewhere bawling and God is just making way for you. Do you understand? So I believe many a times we have missed God in our lives, in our personal lives, even as a nation, right? Because God didn't come in a way we expected him to come. And that will take me to the story of this woman in 2 Kings 4, the poor widow. So this, if you know the story of this woman, the husband who was the prophet, who was one of the sons of the prophet, died. The husband died, right? And she came crying to the prophet, they have come to carry my children. Your servant, the prophet, was faithful. Can we say that the personality of God that was advertised to us make us put his help in a place of constraint where we hope he should sort out all of us? Of course. There's a lot of retraining. I'll come back to what I was saying. There's a lot of retraining you have to do on yourself. I posted two things. First thing I posted, I think last week or last 2 weeks, that it will amaze you that 80% of what you think you know is only a facade. That is why you have to really get a mentor, right? Because in fact, most people trained with an uninformed mind, and they were sincerely right. I mean, genuine. They wanted to really teach you, but while trying to educate you, they educated you with the mediocrity in their mind. So in fact, on many grounds, the version of God that has been taught to us, handed down to us, is somehow. So another thing I sent to the platform, to the community, was the findings I made, or I discovered that there's a slave Bible. And the slave Bible was given to the slaves during the time of slavery, but certain parts that could incite rebellion in the heart of the slaves were removed. So what will you call that? Is still education, because they were bringing the slaves to, because the Bible has, forget all these books we are seeing. The Bible has been from long time ago. Different people, world changer, They have taken reference from the scriptures. So they felt, okay, let's give these guys to let them be able to see this. But they removed certain parts there. That was still education. But that was an education that will still keep their minds uninformed. Do you understand? So education itself depends on the curriculum. Does not mean that you are really getting educated. Because when the system behind it has been corrupted, has been demoralized, they have tweaked everything. You only know what they want you to know. So it means that you have to come to a point where you are sincere with yourself. You ask questions. Why am I thinking like this? You are thinking like that because that was how they wanted you to think. Do you understand? Do you get? So you must come to a point where you can question things, question how things are done, question the structure of the society, question how you think, question why am I thinking like this? Why am I doing things like this? Why am I acting like this? Do you understand? So that is it. Let me leave that for now. Right? So God is not included in that. So we look at yes, I was sharing the story of that woman. So when she came to the prophet, let's look for it so that you will see how it's played out. Because if the way she came to the prophet, excuse me. Oh, yeah, sorted now. Sorted. Sorry, I just read Second Kings 2 and 4. Let me take it again. Verse 2. It says, so Elijah said to her, what shall I do for you? Tell me, what do you have in the house? Two questions. So the woman went and cried to the prophet. This is my problem. They have come to take my two sons. Blah 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 blah. And the question he asked the woman, what should I do for you? And what do you have in the house? So those are two different questions. I don't know why the woman answered the second one. What shall I do for you is different from what do you have in the house. What shall I do for you is saying that how can I step in and take responsibility for your mischief? How can I step in and be the savior of your life? How can I step in and help you sort all your problems? And I believe that an average, person would want to go for that first option. What shall I do for you, sir? Just give money, let me settle my debt. Sir, just give me. Do you get what I'm saying? Except you don't know who Elisha was. Elisha was the Baba Deboye of our time. Do you understand? In his days, it was like Baba Deboye. So imagine Baba Deboye saying, my son. Answer it in the question. If Baba Deboye just call you and say, what can I do for you? Right? But somehow she answered the second one. What do you have in the house? And she said, I don't have anything, but I have a jar of oil. And the man said, okay, this is what you should do. Go and borrow vessels, lock yourself in your room, pour the oil, keep pouring. Once you are... So she went and did that. When she was done, she came back and said, I've done what you asked me to do. The stuff multiply. I said, yeah, go and sell it. Right? Pay your debt and live on the rest. Wait, did God show up for her? Yes. God showed up. I love the comment. Someone said, connect me to kings. Yes. In fact, let me give you options. Let me help you break it down. The options that the woman could have picked. What can I do for you? My husband just died. Can you please connect me with one of the sons of the prophets. So at least if he likes me, he can marry me, so you can take my responsibility. Myself and the children, you can take care of us. Or connect me to any rich person. There's one person I've been liking. I would think it's not possible. Go and read about Abigail and David. When Nabal died. It was Abigail. Maybe you used to think Abigail was a virtuous woman like that too. It was Abigail that went and said my husband is stupid. Abigail said my dad is stupid. He's a very stupid man. Leave him. He was not supposed to cover his husband and shield him and apologize. He said that my husband is very stupid. Oh, don't mind him. Maybe she also like the king said, we don't know. But let's leave that. Do you get what I'm saying? So these are the options. And say, sir, can you just give me? In fact, she could have calculated the amount and said the debt is 1 million. Please, you can help me pay it. And Elisha could pay it. Or she could have told the prophet that just lay your hands on me, pray for me, let this debt be taken away. But the prophet knew that. Now there are two options, and look at it. Every time in your life, God will always present you, or life will always present you those two options. What can someone do for you, or what do you have in the house? What can someone do for you, or what do you have in your hand? But usually we always take the path of least resistance. We love people doing things for us. We do not like responsibilities. We do not want to be responsible. We want just to be balling and everything is just working in our favor without us having a contribution to that thing doing well in our lives. Do you understand what I'm saying? You could have chosen, you that you're listening to me. It's possible that you would have said, Baba, just help me with solve my problem. But do you know that the problem was not really the problem of death? The problem was blindness. I don't have time. Let me see if I can address, because I'm already digressing from my conversation. The moment I mentioned the problem was not problem, is in fact a lot of digression. But let me deal with it. That if you observe that, because look at it, I just started thinking. The prophet once had a prophet, and that was Elijah. Elijah died, then another person, Elisha. So it means that the prophet that was in debt had access to the solution to his problem all this while. But he couldn't discern the solution. He couldn't. Right? He couldn't discern the solution. When Elijah died, he was still in his debt. Elisha, and Elisha is there now. It was the woman that now cried out, come and help us. It was after then, that she received help. So it got me thinking, and I said, wait, the problem here is not the problem of death, it's the problem of blindness. There is something that makes someone blinded to opportunities around. Because the solution to their problem was there with them. They could not have entered into the debt in the first place. Or while they were in the debt, they could have spoken out and said they recognize you as a prophet. But look at them. He was part of the people that was going and they started mocking Elisha that, see, your father is going, they'll be taken away from you, because they lack recognition. They didn't recognize the opportunities around them. They didn't recognize the gift of men, people that God has put with them. Someone that should have just cried out and said, my father, I'm in debt. Please help me solve my problem. But it's not a death problem, it's a blindness problem. He was blind. The whole family was blind. It was until the eyes of that woman opened up that she went and said, please come and help us. Do you understand? So, and when two questions were presented before, what do you want me to do for you? What do you have in the house? And like I said, I don't know why. I don't know who was praying for that woman. She did not pick that one that will not stress her. She said, what do I have? I don't have anything, but there's a jar of oil. All right. Look at it. After that moment, it was just an instruction, and she had to be an active worker in the matter of her destiny and her children's destiny. Go and borrow more vessels. Go and borrow more vessels. Look at it now. She will have to go out, knock on different people's doors, ask them for vessels. Ask them. This is the one that will give her a small one, the one that will give her a rectangular one, the one that will give her a circular one, different shapes. She will gather them. Work. Responsibility. She will have to enter, lock the door, begin to pour. The children were there, they worked together. Do you understand? And that was the path she chose, and God showed up for her. And that was a way to show up for her. God would have showed up for her by just answering the prayer. In fact, another option is the creditor could have just we just sleep and see an angel saying, "That is my daughter, that is my daughter. Don't forget the money she's owing you." Most times when we pray like that, imagine you are in debt, you are owing loan up, owing everybody. When you pray like that, the way you expected God to answer you is by going to meet them and let them just forget the debt. Only you are forgetting that if that happens, that they forget the debt, you still tomorrow you still go and borrow in another place because you have not learned anything. Do you get what I'm saying? Because you still go back tomorrow and borrow because it was already part of you to borrow, right? It's an act, it's a lifestyle for you. So an angel would have um, appeared to the creditor and said, "Leave my daughter, is my daughter." Or the prophet could have said, "I pray, let all your creditors forget that you are owing them." Many things, many options. But she took the path with so much resistance. There's so much resistance there. Someone could have said, "No, I'm not giving you job. All of you are borrowing." Look at it. For that kind of person to be owing, it's possible that there are also the category of people that will owe Maggie. Yeah, Clara, borrow me Maggie there. Mommy John, give me so and so there. Because or the family were in chronic debt. They were chronic debtors. Do you get what I'm saying? Do you get what I'm saying? So, meaning that the path she took was a path that she could have suffered rejection. People could have told her no outrightly. "I'm not going to borrow you my jar." In fact, the neighbors will wonder, "What is this one doing? What is this one? Why is he borrowing all of that?" Are you getting what I'm saying? So God showed up, right? In fact, what happened there was a miracle, right? But the part, do you see what I'm saying? That the way God showed up, He showed up in a way that the woman was still going to be a part of the whole process. But most of the times, we expect that God will show up and just take all the full responsibility for our misbehavior, for our lack of wisdom. Someone is praying that he will get out of the debt, and and we are trying to say, "Okay, I think there's a wisdom we should know." He said, "No, no, no. God should just pray. Let a miracle happen." Let me also say that. Do you know that miracle is actually um miracle comes because there is something that is missing in the equation, and that's why God steps in to do a miracle. The miracle of the oil being converted might not have been necessary if the man knows how to not enter into debt, can can learn how to handle his money problem. Do you get what I'm saying? So, and that is it. Hmm? Do you get what I'm saying? So, usually God came for you, God came for us, but He came in a way we're not expecting Him to come. God showed up. But all your definition of God showing up has always been that God showing up to not include you at all. Maybe not all the time. Are you going to experience that kind of a thing? Sometimes wisdom that God gives you so that you go out and now start making the wisdom count, working it out. I guess what I'm saying? That God will only work out um, a desire in your heart, will only put an idea in your heart, and all you will need to do is to just partner with what God has put in your heart. That's inspiration. And that's why you see that people who are not too religious are the ones that probably they are always out there doing things, carrying out whatever God has put in their heart. And even if they deny the fact that it is not God, right? I'm not religious like you. It is God. Just that they were not part of that education. That when we pray that God show up for me, it has to be God picking it from beginning to the end without you doing anything. There are instances where, I get what I'm saying, and I'm not disputing that, where God shows up for you and you have no contribution in it at all, right? But most of the times when we talk about maybe our daily life, things we do, it is because we have not learned or we don't understand what it is to be responsible for our lives. That is why God shows shows up and we cannot recognize him, that he is the one to hear, but he wants me to also co-labor with him. And recently, one of the character in the Bible that fascinates me is Apostle Paul. There was a point he was saying that, see, I'm the least of the apostles. I came late. I didn't even meet Jesus one-on-one like every other person. But he said, all that I have is because of God's grace. But even with the grace, I labor more than everyone. I labor more than you all. All right, so you are seeing grace, you are also seeing labor. You are seeing God factor, you are seeing human factor. And you agree with me that his ministry shook a lot of people, a lot of places, a lot of generations, right? He wrote almost more than every other, of course, the ones that were recorded, that were compiled together, that we are reading. He wrote most of the New Testament books, all right? But he said that I am all I am by the grace of God. But much more, I labor. Do you see that? I labor more than everybody. So he was not only attributing all that he did to grace, he was saying that while he knows that there is a God factor sponsoring the things that I'm doing, I myself, I labor. And if you know something about him, he was someone who was very serious, hard on himself, no time for serene. I get what I'm saying. He took responsibility for every outcome of his life, for the outcome of the gospel. Like this gospel, I wasn't going to say, woe is me, I not preach the gospel. Do you understand? So, and that's that ideology that God is going to show up, and He has to show up in a certain manner, has to be corrected. You have to demolish it. You have to demolish it. God can move your heart, and the next thing is, you are the one that is supposed to do the rest. While you rest on my ability to help you, my grace, my support system, and whatever. But not that God will now take all the responsibilities. You are sleeping from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. in the morning, and you are now praying, God, today show up for me. Please stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Please stop it. Please stop it. There's nothing wrong with asking God, what will you have me do? You get what I'm saying? What will you have me do? So that's one of the problems, habitual problems of our society today, when we put all our responsibilities on God. We don't know how to take responsibility for ourselves. Another habitual problem is that we blame a lot of our problems, of our life outcomes, on bad governance, bad leadership, bad backgrounds. Oh yes, this one is very serious. I grew up hearing from someone how he was laid off from a job. And for 2 years, 3 years, kept saying, Maybe I'm still in this particular organization now. Things not be hard like this. Why now? Stop it. Stop it. Maybe, can you stop? You had a year to mourn your failure. And after second year, you are still mourning it. Complain that Adibi, you are still there. Adibi did not send you. They did bad thing for you. Come on, take responsibility. Adibi, I don't have a bad background now. I went to a good school. My parents gave me certain good leverage. Come on. It's a problem. It has become part of the society. So we know how to. Now, I'm not saying that the people in the place of in the position of authority are not doing bad, they're not leading poorly. But you see, all of that started with this same thing too. Most of them too blame the government before they got there. But because, do you understand? They went there and still repeated the same thing. You see, one of the things that annoys me the most is how someone can go to school for 4 years. And while the fellow is in school, the fellow is hoping that one day he's going to finish and he'll get a job somewhere. Wait, which job? I get what I'm saying. You spend 4 years or more. In fact, even Nigeria did not happen to you. You might spend 7. Strike here and there. And all of that, hoping that I will just finish. I don't know if you have been to, or maybe when you're young, you say, this is how my life will go. Once I'm done with school, I just go and I'll get a job here. And you find out that 2, 3 years after that, your school, you're still struggling to even find something to do. What happened? Because while we're growing, we're taught that the government will provide jobs or someone will provide jobs. What if you are the one that should provide a job? But when God came in form of an idea that you are going to start that will make you an employer of labor, you didn't start it. You were waiting for someone to create a job. Look at it. You come to pastors, you come to us to pray. You receive let door of job, you receive your job now. Amen. Hold on. You don't get up. Who is creating a job? Or in fact, a system that makes everybody an employee, not nobody is thinking of creating opportunities. Imagine let's think about it. Imagine I have 100 of people in this gathering now. I teach everybody how to be a good employee, but we cannot teach them how to be a good employer. How to sit down and say that the education you had was to help you think, not to essentially help you go and end up as someone working for someone. I'm not saying it's bad for you to work for someone, right? But I'm saying that most of our education did not teach us to take responsibility for ourselves, to think, to see how to better our communities, our societies. So you now see a school will graduate hundreds of people, and the other people will now be looking for jobs. Government, they not provide job, they not provide job. Really? Why did you go to school? So that you can impact your mind, right? The exposure, so that you can connect with your God-given ability to think. And you can look around and see what's the problem, what problem can I solve? What can I create? Can I create my own fortune? Can I create can I bring myself to a place of personal sovereignty without having to depend on when a government or a particular person will make opportunities ready for us? Do you understand? So every year, and when I see people always wanting to do JAMB, and I'm not trying to, but I'm always wondering. I tell my younger ones, I say, before you finish, start thinking, begin to apply. In fact, it's the right time for you to fail, to try this, you should not work, try this, you should not work, than just going through school, right? And hoping that when you are done, you get a job somewhere. Why do you suspend your brain? Why do you suspend your thinking? Why? Because it was handed over to us to always push all our responsibilities to certain people, to the government, to leaders, all of that. But here I'm teaching you personal leadership, taking responsibility for yourself, sitting down and tapping into your God-given wisdom, insight, skills. Use your imagination, sit down. Now, I've gone to school. This school has helped me to think in this manner. How can I be a better person for myself first, then to my society? So if every year we release people to the world of work to go and be depending on certain people. Wait, are you saying that they should lay people off so that they can put it there? The place is fixed up. There has to be more people creating more opportunities. So this is a cue to you to tell you that if God, that idea God is putting in your heart, is so that the next set of people that will be graduated from maybe whatever school can also be employed. But you love the path of least resistance. You don't want to do things that will stress you. You don't want to think. You don't want to wake up to think, to work things, to grind, to till, to make sure the business you are doing can be globally accepted. In fact, people are satisfied with, as long as this business is giving me something to eat every day, I'm okay. Really, the business that if you sit down with it well can grow and compete with the business that is going on now. I mean, the business that are ruling now, and you like that, you'll be able to create more opportunities for people to do well. Do you understand what I'm saying? Is anybody getting what I'm saying at all? So we have been trained, taught, wired, conditioned, configured to always wait on an unseen force come and change the outcomes of our lives. May you not wait in vain. May God grant you understanding. Do you understand? And if you are here and you have not even started the journey at all of maybe going to one university in Nigeria, and you are hearing this, it's a plus for you that you can start creating your own empire now. Start having escape plan. How do I get out of this? I'm not saying leaving the country, right? How do you educate yourself out of this failed system? What has been a faulty education that everybody has received? I know certain people that have been saying certain things since I was young, and I'm still saying it now. Open and open and open and open. Every year, I mean, every 4 years now, they will come with another. They will present to us another person as the Messiah. Everybody, God, ah, everybody will say yes, he's the one that can do. There's a song they used to sing in our hometown. Then, let me not mention the name of the person, but let's say the name of the new candidate is Ronaldinho. Ronaldinho ló lè ṣe o ìjọba. Nothing. See, now this is what people now used to do to excuse themselves. They say, you see, some people used to make it in the government of this person. Even me, I will make it in his government. We stop it now. Are you not seeing the data? Look at the data now for since you were born till now. That there's no hope with those guys. There is a need for you to create a personal escape route. Stop making it look like God is not faithful in your life. God has shown up to you several times, shown up for you several times. He has come to you, but you were expecting that it will come in that manner, and he said no. Do you understand? Maybe your own is lack of wisdom, or now you handle resources God brings to you. You'll have to learn how to judiciously use the resources God is bringing to you. Every year you still come back and have that same issue, rent issue, school fees issue, and like that every time God keeps bringing opportunities to you, but you don't know how to grab it because you have been taught that once it's 2 months to that time, you start hoping and praying to God to come and show up. Whereas along the way, God already showed up. Are you not seeing what I'm seeing? There is no season of your life that God has not attempted to prepare you for. One way or the other, He must have attempted to prepare you and say, okay, there's a season of scarcity is coming, but I'll first bring a season of surplus. And how you prevent yourself from being brought down or being affected by the season of scarcity is that while you are things are surplus now, keep preparing for that day. But no, we did not see that part of who gave Pharaoh the dream he had? God. So God gave a man a dream, withheld the meaning, gave another man the meaning of the dream. So are you seeing that? And they worked together and they now prepared for surplus. I mean for scarcity. And at that moment, it placed Egypt, as of course, Egypt at the time was world power, right? It's world power, but it still made the relevance was stronger. Do you get what I'm saying? God could have just said that I will not allow it. And that's what we do. That's what we do too. We pray that Lord, let take this scarcity away. You see that most of the times when we enter into certain phase or certain period in our lives when we're experiencing scarcity, God will just have to show up in His mercy and just show up for you and say, all right, let's give him a miracle. Because you were foolish when God was showing you ways to get out of it or to prepare for it. You were very foolish then. God was showing you signals, things to do. Maybe prior to that time, that was when you got certain jobs that were paying you well. You took the money, you went to go and buy things that you will not need. You want to impress people that did not send you. You just did it show so that they can know that. And every time you have money now, everybody will know. Social media will know. You buy correct clothes, confirm everything. You don't know that you have to prepare for dry season. You lack the wisdom. And God was flashing it at you. Look at it, look at it, look at it. So when it's now time to actually need what uh, you kept during the season of surplus, there's nothing there again. You now begin to cry to God. And that's when God now begins. That is where you now need miracle. Do you get? That's when we now need miracle. Miracle will now come and all of that and will be managed. And usually when God sees that, it's like this person, nobody wise. Okay. Let's not put resources in his hand or her hand more than what she can manage. Let's ensure that it's one thing at a time. That's why many people cannot enter surplus their lives. Because it is when you are faithful with little that you can more can be committed into your hands. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I believe this is not me defending God, but it's still me trying to say that I believe that one time, at least once in your life, God must have showed up and shown you how to come out of you know, the the mess you are in currently. At least once, you must have showed up. Remember when you were not expecting it, someone just come to you and say, and give you a huge amount of money. What did you do with it? You spent everything. You don't know that you're supposed to find a way to make sure the money keeps working for you, establish something so that you create a system that makes you have without necessarily, doing anything so much, or it can allow you to focus on other things that are important in your life. Because we lack the wisdom. And that's because some part in our hearts, we sort to believe that tomorrow will be good. Should I shock you that tomorrow may not be good? That's the truth. That's the truth. Tomorrow will not be better. Were there not times you felt tomorrow will be better and you enter the tomorrow did not become anything good? I'm not saying bad thing, I'm not cursing, I get what I'm saying. I'm just trying to let's be factual with ourselves. Were there not seasons in your life and you expect that tomorrow will be good, and the tomorrow came and nothing showed up? It always almost look like God, are you sleeping? Are you this? Are you that? God did not sleep. At least from my observation, God must have prepped you. And there will be seasons in your life actually that He wants you to actually, probably go that He wants you to probably go through so you learn some things. And that period might be, not that you experience scarcity, but that you will, yes, Paul was saying that I've learned to abound and to abase. She understand. So these are the problems. These are the problems that have become a part of our society. And everybody has eaten we have eaten the pills, we have taken it, we rushed it like fast food. It's an habitual problem. Habitual problem. Stop blaming your parents. Stop blaming your background. Stop it. Stop it. Don't join the bandwagon of guys that even in their 30s, they're still blaming the system. Pray, but open your mind. The person that you are hoping that will give you a job to got the insights from maybe from divine, from heaven, from God. Even though the person might not be loud about God as you are loud about God, but God is somewhere. Do you understand? So these are the problems that mar our leadership, that affects our leadership. So once we have these ideologies in our files, in our minds, we cannot take the path of self-governance, seriously. We always hope and look for shortcuts, look for, get rich quick schemes or do well in life quick schemes, just look for fast ways to get things done when we're actually supposed to take our life seriously. So now, this will now lead me. I just needed to state the problems, and I even believe in stating the problems, you must have seen that this is it. I'm not really, doing this part well. I want to define personal leadership. I'll just give two definitions and I will say a few things and we'll wrap up for today. It's a series we are going to continue next time. Now, so I have it. Leadership is the ability to personal leadership now is the ability to develop and utilize one's personal traits to guide the direction of one's life instead of letting time and chance determine the course of your life. Your ability to develop, to utilize your personal traits, right, in guiding the direction of your life instead of waiting for time and chance. Well, they say time and chance happen to some people, but you may not necessarily have to be a victim of time and chance. And in fact, if time and chance eventually happens, right, it should meet you prepared. They say that favor is when opportunity meets with preparation. Last episode, I was talking to you about favor, what it means actually, looking at the life of Joseph. That Joseph, in the house of, what's his name now? Potiphar, right? Potiphar had to observe that everything this guy does, he does it well. And and it pleased Potiphar, and it made him head over everything he had. Do you see that now? So, and what was the ability Joseph had? The ability to lead himself well, to use all the traits, his administrative skill, his leadership skill, his prudent ability to be prudent at whatever he does. Do you get what I'm saying? To use it well. And that was when a noble man, observed him and said, wow, this guy, I observed that there were 5 of them like that. We promoted this one to be head of kitchen, this one head of this. And we found out that the place where Joseph was leading, we never had any complaint. And the guy was pleased and said, okay, yeah, put him in charge of everything. The only thing the guy was concerned about was anytime he wanted to eat and say, I would like to eat this food today. But the business, the profit of the business was not bothered, because that guy has shown over time that with my personal traits, leadership traits, I can direct my life. So you not see Joseph to be the kind of person that will come 10 minutes late to work. You not be the person that will watch movie late into the night and wake up late to go to church. Do you get what I'm saying? He's not the kind of person. Are you seeing what I'm saying? He was able to lead himself well in a way that anything that was committed into his hand was properly done, to the end that when his master saw him, he felt pleased with him. Your ability to develop, to utilize all that you have, your personal trait, to use it to drive the direction of your life. Not waiting for one day that one big bang will happen and things will start going in your favor. Not waiting for when God will just show up in the sky. God has shown up to you several times. He has shown up for you. What you have not learned is how to lead yourself personally from a point to another point. You are the one that will say you want to do something today and the next you have forgotten it. You cannot stay true on whatever you want to do. You cannot keep at something for a while. You're easily discouraged. You're easily moved by what is going on around. Do you see that? You are so indisciplined. You don't know what self-governance is. I don't want to lead other people. You cannot lead yourself. You can't give us your word and we find it to be true. You cannot tell us you are coming by 2 and we'll meet you by 2, or we stay there and you are there. So you must learn to be able to use, develop your skills, your personal traits, your leadership traits to drive the direction of your life. And stop waiting for something to just show up. And you see, you have observed people around you, people before you. That's the same pattern they have followed. And you too, you are hoping for a change of life, for a change of result, of outcome in life. We are repeating the same procedure. You cannot repeat a procedure and expect a different result. It's not possible. It's not possible. At best or at most, you will just pitch your tent farther from them. You will not be different from them. Because we are doing the same thing they did that made them, and that brought them to their knees. That put them back there, put their backs on the ground. And you are repeating the same thing too. You're already taking that route. You have taken that route of indiscipline. You will not wake up when you wake up. You will sleep all your life, hoping that one day they will just see your work. You're the one that will handle something and you handle it shabbily. You come and you prepare anyhow. You're already on that path. You're already on that path. You must sit up. I get what I'm saying? And sit down. Why am I so indisciplined? Why am I so inconsistent? Why do I lack commitment to whatever I'm doing? Why can't I put my heart into everything and anything I do? I told you about God doing his work, and he took an observer mode and said, my God, this is so good. Why not take actions? Why waiting for government? Why waiting for that your uncle? Why blaming them for what is happening in your life? Oh yes, they have tried, right? And just move, sit down. You are the driver's seat already now. Another definition I have here is, it is the process of leading oneself and taking responsibility for one's growth, development, and success. Leading oneself, taking responsibility for one's growth, development, and success. I always say it. There was a book I read some years, I think 2017. No Excuse by Brian Tracy. That book changed my life. It changed my life. From that moment, oh my God, no, I will not begin to wait on people, wait on my family member before I do anything. I took my life seriously. So let me help you do a litmus test. If you were the boss of that your company, of that your organization, would you have, do you get what I'm saying? Would you have done it well? Some people cannot. I say one of the ways to increase the value is to be able to work under little or no supervision. And before you'll be able to even work under little or no supervision, it means that you must understand personal leadership. Right? This week, one of my clients, I met a client who was, the person was referred to me. She was having issue with her work, and she said, out of all of us, this person will receive good feedback, and I've been going back and forth with no feedback at all. In fact, something was and all of that. So he said, she had to ask that, who is helping you with this thing? I said, me. I said, wow, come. And this is it. And we started. And at intervals, she would come and disturb me. I'm just scared. So I had to tell her, please don't ever disturb me again. Don't disturb me again. Just leave me and let me do my work. And I said, so this is it. When I undo your work, I undo it like it is mine. I put all of my energy, put all of my time. So I do not need to be supervised to do it well. In fact, few conversations into the whole thing, she said, why didn't I meet you before now? The way I even talking, I'm even having interest in it. I said, yes, that's it. Why did you come and meet me? Why do you see someone like this on ground looking for? Do you understand? What am I saying is, I'm saying that the ability to being able to deliver to your best without anybody having to supervise what you are bringing. Do you know that one of the reasons why you always present something shabby is because you know the person you are presenting it to can still vet it. I guess what I'm saying. Or you have a boss that will still ask you what's the outcome you want. If you are the one now in charge, how will you undo it? That place where you are working and you are doing their work anyhow, just think if you are the one. So, and it is because we see all of these issues in our society and organizations because people don't understand personal leadership. They don't understand personal leadership. So we before we go into talking about how to lead a team, lead a people, lead the organization, let's talk about you. Do you have discipline? Are you committed to whatever you are doing? Can you stay true to your time? Are you the kind of person that the moment you are distracted like this, you are gone? You cannot call yourself back to order. You can't redirect your attention. Your attention span is very little, and especially in this era of social media, attention span has reduced. Just this moment, you are doing something, you are studying, you just received the notification, you go there, pram, and after 10 minutes or 30 minutes, you're wondering, wait, why did I come here? What was I doing before? You are gone. Is it that person that wants to lead an organization? So here we are raising effective leaders. And when I say leaders, now you know that it's not about even leading people or having titles or having positions, but that you are first a correct leader of your life. Knowing that this is stewardship, God has placed you here to steward it and lead it well. Do you understand? All right, we are going to, let me just say this before we move. That, so one thing majority of people have not come to realize is that we play an important role in the matters of our destiny. We play an important role before any external influence. People, systems, organizations, God, we play an important role. All right, and even God wants to see that our effort, because that is what we make, what the effort, the contribution from God worth it. Do you understand? So I'm going to stop here for now. I believe you have learned one or two things. In fact, a lot of things, right? We meet again next Wednesday for another episode of this series. Um, yes, if you have learned, you have been blessed, kindly share this link, comment, like, share with people so that they can also um, learn a lot from this session. And I believe that you are leaving this place to know the things to change, to work on, how to adjust, how to take charge of your outcomes, of your inputs, so that, of course, it is your input that will determine your outputs. Do you understand? All right, thank you so much. We'll see you next Wednesday. Till then, do have a wonderful week ahead.